Jai and friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. There could be a rare occurrence here and there, but largely these things happen along roads. Which is why the government of India is trying to build roads, because roads carry with them prosperity. Craft carrier. That is the final punch. If you want to tell your friends or your adversaries that you're serious, send in an aircraft carrier and they will know. Jai and friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. So the latest breaking news is that the government of India, as per Arindam Bagchi, who's the spokesperson for the Ministry of External Affairs, government of India, the government of India has constituted a high-level inquiry to investigate into the circumstances how there was an assassination attempt or a plot for the assassination of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, the leader of Sikhs for Justice now. So Pannu is a declared terrorist in India. And the United States of America said or told the Indian government that we have substantial evidence, or we have some sort of evidence saying that India is probably involved in trying to kill Pannu. And India said, we take all these allegations very seriously. Give us the proof and we'll investigate. America did give something, which America feels. America is not saying with certainty that you did it. They are saying that we've got feelers that something like this was carried out. And India said, sure, share the proof with us. America gave proof and now India has constituted a high-level inquiry and India will inquire into it. No problem. There is also this pact between India and the United States of America and a few other countries. And the pact or the agreement or the deal is very simple, ladies and gentlemen, and it is that if America has any concerns, India will do its best to cooperate. And if India has any concerns in these matters, America will do its best to cooperate. And that's all that there is to it. The Khalistanis are, really feeling very happy that, first of all, they're feeling happy that Pannu is so important that somebody tried to kill him because nobody bothers about Pannu. And then they said that, the government of America has taken cognizance. And then Pannu tried to play the statesman. He's a joker actually, but he tried to play the statesman saying that I leave it to the government of the United States of America and it is up to them to ensure freedom of speech and freedom of, expression in the United States of America, etc., etc. Utter nonsense. Pannu is a joker. I think the Americans are wasting time on Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. They should not waste time and neither shall we. Now, moving on to the next news. About the 41 workers who were rescued out of the tunnel in Uttarakhand, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they're finally out. Thank God, everybody's prayers have been answered. And all the 41 have been airlifted to Rishikesh on a Chinook, which is flown by the Indian Air Force. Now, why does this happen? And, everybody knows that the Himalayas are a young mountain, right? And maybe the soil of the Himalayas is not so firm. And when you do too much of digging or too much of cutting along the mountainside, these slides happen, the falls of the soil, the rock happen. And all of us who have traveled in remote areas, all of us who have traveled in mountainous areas in India, know that generally along the Himalayas, there are a lot of landslides. You go to Uttarakhand, you go to Sikkim, you can go to Himachal Pradesh, you'll find a lot of landslides. For hours and hours, the entire road will be blocked and then somebody will get a JCB or an earth mover and try to clear it for the traffic to move on. This is a regular feature, regular occurrence, and there is something with the soil of the Himalayas. It's not so compact, hence causing the problem. Also, India trying to widen the road. Now, there are 2-3 factors why India is doing that. And a lot of environmentalists have said that, we should not do that. We should respect the environment. Now, unfortunately, all these environmentalists are sitting in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Chennai, in Calcutta, in the big cities. The kids go to school, right? They go to shopping malls and they go to pubs and restaurants during the weekend or during the weekdays. The hospital is close by. The problem is a road is not just a means of connectivity. A road signifies progress. So where there is a road, there will be a hospital, there will be a school, there will be a college, there will be a market, there will be shops. All these things will happen because by nature, all these things happen along roads. There could be a rare occurrence here and there, but largely these things happen along roads. Which is why the government of India is trying to build roads, because roads carry with them prosperity, right? So let's say if I were to be an environmentalist and I say that, hey, it doesn't matter, all these roads don't matter. What Uttarakhand deserves is clean air, pure air. Of course it does. But so do the people in Delhi. Don't the people in Delhi and Noida deserve clean air and pure air? Of course we do. But Do we say that let's walk to work today and I'm not going to use my car? Or during peak summers, do we say that, okay, it's damaging to the environment, let me not use my air conditioner. Let me make do with a fan or a cooler. I will not use an air conditioner. Or let me not use a refrigerator, or what we know as a fridge in India. Let me not use a fridge. Let me use an earthen pot, a ghada in Hindi. We don't do that. But we want people in the hills and in the mountains to compromise, because apparently they have the responsibility for global warming. And they are supposed to live their lives in misery just because we can talk about environmental damage sitting in Delhi. Now, I'll tell you something, we must find a middle path. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, to find a middle path out of this. Without a middle path, we are done. And what is that middle path? That middle path has to be taking care of the environment, but yet making sure that the roads reach, the furthest. It's not just about religious tourism. A lot of people from the opposition parties have blamed the government, saying that, the government is busy connecting temples and all they want is tourism and all they want is economic welfare, and they don't understand environment. That's not true. Environment is not just the trees and the mountains and the grass. It's also the people. And since this happened in Uttarakhand, Uttarkashi is in Uttarakhand, and since this happened in Uttarakhand, let me give you an example of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand works largely, even today. I'm not talking about big cities like Haridwar or Rishikesh or even the capital Dehradun. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the villages. Uttarakhand is largely based upon what we know as the money order economy. There are villages in Uttarakhand, hundreds of villages in Uttarakhand, where you will not find young men. There are only women, children, and the elderly. Because the young men have all left. They've gone to the cities to earn their daily bread, because there is nothing available in the hills except what the environmentalists really value, clean air. There's a lot of clean air, there's a lot of clean water, there's a lot of green grass, but there are no jobs, there are no hospitals, there are no schools. And if there are hospitals and schools, which they're slightly far away, difficult to get to because of the mountain and hilly terrain. So what do the people do here? What do the people do? Don't they deserve progress? I'm not saying that people of Uttarakhand should have facilities that are similar to Delhi. But isn't there a middle path that we could talk about? You save the environment, but also look at economic progress. And what about the Chinese across the border? Because Chinese have really pumped in money and ramped up their infrastructure. Tomorrow, if push comes to shove, and it will one day, it will, the day is not far when there will be a skirmish or even a limited war between the Indians and the Chinese. We can never, rule that out. It can happen. And if that happens, and if we have no roads or we have small roads, how do you think an army can fight without lines of communication and lines of supply? Otherwise, people are going to give the same stupid argument which so many political parties gave after Pulwama. Why don't you airlift the troops? Yeah, you can airlift the troops, sure. And I'm talking about after the Pulwama suicide attack. Sure, you can airlift all the troops. You can do that. That's no problem. But once you airlift the troops and you say no to convoys, you say no convoys in Kashmir, then who rules the ground? Who owns the ground? It is the terrorists. Now, thankfully, that has not happened in toto. There are convoys going all over Kashmir, as they must. And maximum people must go through convoys. Similarly, for these areas near the line of actual control, you're talking about Ladakh, you're talking about Arunachal Pradesh, you're talking about Himachal Pradesh, you're talking about Uttarakhand, you're talking about Arunachal Pradesh or Sikkim, I beg your pardon, Sikkim. So 5 states along the line of actual control. That is where Tibet is. That is where the PLA is. And we need, because see, there is a limited amount of stuff that you can send to the borders by air. Very limited. Plus in the mountains, there is a huge problem. Inclement weather. The time window through which the choppers fly is very limited. In Siachen Glacier, they don't have anything after early evenings. They just don't. It's too unreliable. There's the wind factor, there is the sudden collapse of the weather. And this happens all the time in the mountains. Weather is very dicey, especially in Uttarakhand. You don't know when it's going to rain. When it starts raining, rolling, thundering, you never know. And helicopters are not the most stable of air platforms. Let me put it like that. They are not the most stable of air platforms, helicopters. So what do you do in that case? You can't have trains there. because they're out of the way places. What you need there are roads. And this is your national security priority. Again, I'm not saying compromise fully on the environment. We must find a middle path. People sitting in Delhi who have 5 cars parked in the garage, right? Who have the carbon footprint of a dinosaur. Well, I'm just speaking figuratively. A dinosaur has no or had no carbon footprint, even when the dinosaurs were alive millions of years back. I'm just saying that footprint, dinosaur, human, yeah. 5 cars, 10 air conditioners, right? And these people worry about, the carbon footprint, and they worry about damage to the ecology in the mountains. There has to be a middle path. Now, and in the last news of the day, ladies and gentlemen, India has agreed, or the Defense Acquisition Council has said that, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to build another aircraft carrier, 40,000 crore rupees, 45,000 tons displacement. Now, what does this mean? This essentially means that India will have its second indigenous aircraft carrier and its third aircraft carrier. So India will have 3 aircraft carriers now. A lot of people say, does India require a third aircraft carrier? My sensing is different. I'm saying whether we require it or not, let the Indian Navy decide. Let the naval chief decide along with his team of officers. They are the best qualified to do that. Here, all over media, there is this talk. Do we need another aircraft carrier or no? Should we or should we not? There is Admiral R. Hari Kumar. He's the boss. He's the chief of the Indian Navy. It's his call. Finally, it's his decision whether we should have an aircraft carrier or not. And one thing, and I'm sure this is my understanding, no naval officer has spoken to me on this, or I have not spoken to any naval officer on this, but I genuinely feel in my heart that, we should have larger aircraft carriers. Give the Navy more rather than giving less. The 45,000 tons aircraft carrier, 45,000 tons displacement. Chinese are building 60,000, 80,000. We should aim to build 100,000 displacement, 100,000 tons displacement aircraft carrier nuclear powered. Talk to the Americans. Go to Newport News in the United States of America. Newport News is where all the aircraft carriers are built for the United States of America. Gerald T. Ford, nuclear powered aircraft carrier, 100,000 tons displacement. Squadrons of Rafale, squadrons of, all these attack helicopter gunships and all that. And also this argument that somehow aircraft carriers are vulnerable. After the Second World War, I have not heard of an aircraft carrier sinking because somebody attacked an aircraft carrier. And if there has been a case, please educate me, because I'd like to understand and I'd like to know, because an aircraft carrier, when it travels, does not travel alone. It's a group, it's a carrier group. When it goes into operations, it's a carrier group. There are frigates, and there are destroyers, and there are submarines, and there are aircraft, and there are attack helicopters, and there are reconnaissance. It's like a whole floating city which is traveling. And do you think it's so easy? They have the latest anti-aircraft, anti-submarine. They have the latest technology in the world, yeah. How do you think somebody can just fire a missile and sink an aircraft carrier? No, it's not possible. And the aircraft carrier is the final, I would say there is no bigger platform for Indian foreign policy than an aircraft carrier. That is the final punch. If you want to tell your friends or your adversaries that you're serious, send in an aircraft carrier and they will know. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Now for the questions and answers. So ladies and gentlemen, I have Shakti Kesavan, who's saying India has overtaken China in both population and economic growth, yet we still don't have permanent seat at the UNSC. Yet a disgusting country like China does, and they keep supporting terrorists who have harmed India in the past. Is there something that can be done to get into the United Nations Security Council without Chinese approval? Can China be stripped of their veto power? See, I'll tell you 2-3 things. It's important to, and this is my personal view. And let me qualify by saying that I could be absolutely 100% wrong. And I'll be the first one to admit if I'm wrong, but I feel, that India, this United Nations Security Council seat will happen in due course of time. It will happen, right? I don't know whether you can strip China, maybe not possible, but we will have our seat there. But I think India needs to start behaving like a superpower, a military superpower. You have to show force. This whole Gandhian philosophy of slap me and I will turn the other cheek, it gets you some brownie points, yeah. Okay? It does not get you respect. it might get you sort of a teddy bear cuddly love, but there is no respect. Respect comes through projection of power. A lot of people said, oh, when India did not respond after 26/11, India was being mature. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, we were not being mature. We did not respond because we simply did not find it in ourselves to respond. I would like to, think of Pakistan trying something funny right now. Yeah. Just do it. Give us an excuse. We'll hammer your bones into the ground. So, rather than just saying that we need a seat at the United Nations Security Council, of course we do, and we'll get it, and we deserve that. There is no doubt about that. All I'm saying is that India needs to start taking sides, and that side is India's own side, number one. So I'm not saying align with the West or align with this or that. No need to align. But send your troops. Start operating abroad. It's very important to be seen. Today, the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force largely operate. There are examples of exceptions. So we have a base at Farkor, we have a base in Mauritius, and we have some other bases here and there, small little. But you need to have large bases, tri-services bases outside. You need to have tri-services bases outside. This does a lot for the country's reputation. So yeah, that seat will happen. But before that, let's if you are capable, and if you say that you're capable of violence, you must have the capability of displaying that violence once in a while. All for a good cause, all for a national cause, but you must do it. Show the world that India can cause havoc when it desires, And it could be anything. It could be anything. It has to be offensive in nature. It has to be overseas. Then the world will truly come to understand what the Indian Armed Forces are all about. Not by operating within the territories of India only. Baroness Lizzie. What I do not understand, Major, is why migration is still encouraged for the influx of individuals who clearly mean the country of choice harm. Why is it so difficult to say no, and why not deport them back at the first sign of trouble? Baroness Lizzie. Well, ma'am, I do not know why countries do that, and why European countries, and why Canada, and to some extent even Australia and New Zealand. I don't know why they have a death wish. Because in trying to be politically correct, right, in trying to tell the world that, hey, we are not racists, they're actually causing their own country harm, because many of the immigrants, I'm not talking about all of them, there are brilliant immigrants. America is made up of immigrants only. All these guys, they came from Europe, these whites. There were no whites in the United States of America when Columbus came knocking, All these whites largely came from Europe. So, what I'm trying to say is that if you want to keep your country safe, you need to vet who comes inside your country. Do a background check. Make them wait for a couple of years. Don't get excited. Oh, come. Like Angela Merkel of Germany, the Chancellor of Germany. She got very excited. Come. Germany is there to love you, to welcome you. Today, those guys are burning Germany. Those guys have burnt France. So I think you need to be very careful. Invite only the best of the best. Reject the rest. And one more thing which I'd like to say, and I'm going to repeat this very often. I like the way Dubai does things. You can live your life in Dubai, you can earn in Dubai, but you don't get citizenship. Right? You're welcome to come and work in Dubai. Earn money, earn lots of money. They'll give you more than enough money. World-class infrastructure, better infrastructure than most American cities. But at the end of the day, you do not have rights of the citizen. You do not have it. You will go back one day. I think Europe needs to do that. This is exactly what Europe needs to do. Tell people, okay, like a lot of European countries have manpower issues. They need manpower. Sure. Canada has manpower issues. Sure. Come, live in Canada. Come. Call everybody. What do you need, Canada? Let's say you need automobile engineers. Let's say you need 5,000 automobile engineers in Canada. Sure, have a vacancy of 5,000 automobile engineers. Vet them one by one and say, come in Canada, live in Canada, earn in Canada, no problem. But you're not a Canadian citizen. You will go back. You do not have rights of citizenship, and we have every right to deport you. This is the power that countries must keep with themselves and give citizenship. Like, for example, that's what I'm given to believe. I don't know the rules, but I'm given to believe by a lot of friends who have stayed in Dubai for a long time that you can't actually become a citizen of Dubai. You might have a PR or a permanent residency, and you might live there for 40, 50 years. But you don't have every right that a citizen has. So never give citizenship rights unless that person is truly, truly exceptional. You have some sort of a Albert Einstein floating around, and you want to say, okay, welcome to our society. Many Arab countries do this, oil-rich Arab countries. You can go there, you can work there, you can live there, but you can never become a citizen. I think this is what Europe and America need to do. This is what you must do in case you want to retain your sanity. Otherwise, all these immigrants from all these war-torn countries are going to come and they're going to run you over. So ladies and gentlemen, with that I come to the end of this video. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.